Okay, hello and welcome. It's another hot day in Japan. I'll try to keep my pre-game chatter down here to a minimum. I think this is going to be a 10-minute vlog easily. On Wednesday, today's Monday, on Wednesday I have my last Shogaku visit ever as a jet. I go to one of my very favorite Shogaku, and they were nice enough to lend me the materials I've been using in April, May, June, and July, and that is Eigo Noto 1 and Eigo Noto 2, and as you can see I wrote myself there 6th grade and 5th graders, Go Nensei, Roku Nensei. And these are the new books that have been put out by the Ministry of Education to sort of standardize English education at the primary school level. I think they're officially going to be adopted in 2011, but most schools are giving them a tryout, starting this year. So they kind of got 2 years to work out the kinks. But the reason I'm turning on the camera today is that there was an article, and I've kept it, by a woman who writes in the Daily Yomiuri. And I know when this gets transferred to YouTube it's hard to read this, but she wrote, Eigo Noto fails to hit mark. And her name is Helene, perhaps is how you pronounce her first name, Uchida. And according to her byline, she is the director of Little America, a Fukuoka-based company for the training teachers of English. And I've been reading her column, it appears about once or twice a month, in the Yomiuri now for almost 5 years, and I don't often agree with her opinions. She's obviously very experienced with primary school students, but it seems to be more in a language school setting as opposed to a public school setting. She also has a disdain for the JET program, which obviously doesn't sit well with me. She feels that the money spent on JET could be better spent doing other things, which I disagree with. I feel like she's out of touch with what goes on really at regular schools. Some of the advice she gives is just so wacky and bizarre at times. I really wonder where she's coming from. But the Yomiuri Shimbun gives her a voice, and she goes down a little checklist of things that she basically thinks that these books should not be adopted and used. So I'm going to go down her points, kind of give my opinion of it, and in that way discuss this book that many of you, as Jets coming over, will start to use in September when you start classes. And of course, many of you, if you're in the country already, are probably using right now, as I am. Okay, so the first thing she talks about is the title of the book, and here's the incomplete cover, is not in English. If the title English Notebook were used, children could learn those 2 important English words right away. Well, I agree with her, but to be honest, kids in 5th and 6th grade cannot read English. They just simply can't. Now that doesn't mean that they won't learn, and if they see that word every day on their book, they won't learn it, but believe me, I understand, and it's a Japanese classroom taught by, the books are designed to be taught not by me, an ALT, a native English speaker, but they're designed to be able to be used by any Japanese homeroom teacher in any Japanese primary, elementary, public school. That's niggling in my opinion. Okay, her next point. The books look Japanese. There is nothing especially English about it. Well, okay. I agree. But again, why should the English book just be so jarring from all their other textbooks? If you looked at the New Horizon book, which is a very standard book used in junior high school, it looks very much like a lot of other books. At least the books open this way and read, across this way, and you turn the page this way, as opposed to opening from the back and going like, the other way. So they are English in some respects. Again, I don't know, a minor point. This next one I have a real problem with. Names are written in Japanese order, family name first. So she's talking mainly in these points about book 1. She says for space she's only going to talk about book 1. So what she's talking about is there's a whole unit on, greetings, like this guy's kid's name is Suzuki Ken, Tanaka Mai, Yamada Emi. And so they give, like the actor Watanabe Ken, or instead of Akira Kurosawa, in this book it would be written Kurosawa Akira. which is how Japanese people know their names. And I gave up long ago trying to get my kids to adopt a Western style. There's nothing wrong with a Japanese person being proud of their heritage and introducing themselves Japanese style. There's a very, very simple way of getting around this. Hello, okay, say my name was Yoko Ono, okay, but of course in Japan my name would be Ono Yoko. So I'm going to introduce myself to you and you're a Westerner. Hello, my name is Ono Yoko. Please call me Yoko. Boom. You know? And I teach my kids this. I'm like, I explain to them through the help of the teacher, when you introduce yourself, if you say your myoji, your family name first, Westerners that don't know a lot about Japan will assume that that name that you give first is your first name. So especially if you have a name like Ichiro Suzuki. If he introduced himself as Suzuki Ichiro, people in America would just say, oh hey, you know, Suzuki, and think Suzuki is his first name. But all he has to do is say, hello, my name is Suzuki Ichiro, please call me Ichiro. And that's solved. So that's an incredibly stupid point on her part, in my opinion. I think Japanese people should be proud of it. When they introduce themselves to each other, if they're going to use English in Japan, there's nothing wrong. And usually when I've been to parties or been to business functions and Japanese people introduce themselves to each other, but they're speaking English, they do that. They say, hello, my name is Watanabe Ken, you know, you can call me Ken or something, you know. So I hate that part. Okay, all the names are written in capital letters. In English-speaking countries, this is generally the habit of uneducated people. I mean, come on. These are gonensei. These are 5th graders who are just learning to write romaji. So what she's talking about is right here. It says Suzuki Ken, and it's all written in capitals. The kids cannot handle lowercase right off the bat. I completely understand this. They often will ask me, if I say, you know, don't forget to write your name, romaji de, write it in English at the top of your paper. They're like, can I use zenbu omoji ii desu ka? You know, can I write it in all capitals? And I'm like, sure, no problem. The point is communication. Can I read what they're writing? It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, you know, if they want to use all capital letters for the first year they're learning the alphabet, hey, you know, that's fine. You know, that's another incredibly stupid point on this woman's part. This next part, I don't even know why I mentioned it. The manga characters look like 3rd graders. The oldest kids in primary school want to look older, not younger. Well, yeah, I mean, they look youngish. But here, I mean, they're just sort of abstract. I mean, you know, do they look like 5th graders? Maybe not. Does it bother a single student that I've talked to or taught this book now for 4 months? No. God, this woman bugs me. All right. There's no English model sentences for the children to look at, wonder about, or try to imitate. I can see a lot of kanji, hiragana, katakana in the book for far too little English. That I agree with. Every page, basically all the instructions are in Japanese. There is very little English. If we're talking about this first book, you know, the book is designed as a jump-off point for the activities that you're going to do and the CD that you're going to listen to, etc. You know, there just isn't a whole lot of writing involved in the book. But here's a little, you know. But I agree, there's a lot of Japanese in the book. But, you know, again, the point of writing, you know, listen to the CD or, you know, write down this and stuff in English, it would be lost on the students and it would be lost on 95% of the homeroom teachers. So, you know, that again is regrettable that there's not more English. You know, here it does at least say namae, a name. These are cards that they can cut out to play games. Here everything is written in Japanese, you know, in the back here. You know, here it's bilingual. So I agree with her a little bit. I will concede that point. I too wish there were more English in the book. Okay, looking at my time, I'm already at 9 minutes. I knew this was going to be long, so this is going to be part 1, folks. If this interests you, this subject, please come back for part 2, where I will turn the camera right back on right now and talk a little bit more about her points and then some of my own. Okay? Thanks for watching. More soon. Bye.